Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about what is the ego, how did it form, and what is all this ego construct about? Is it good or is it bad? So the ego is something, it's like a person that we form from our past pretty much. It's this person within us person that we form, like an identity. So what is ego? The ego is an identity that we form based on our past experiences. And that's pretty much exactly what the ego is. And how this identity comes into place is like, for me, for example, when I started first, I didn't really have a sort of an ego, but I fell into I started to meet friends who did have an ego. And at one point I thought that was cool, I thought that was required, I thought that was necessary in order to fit in to the things that I was doing, to the people that I was hanging around with. I thought it was a necessity, that I needed a sort of a personification in particular, because when people ask me, initially when people asked me, what did you like? I was like, I liked everything, I like this, which was the truth. And then, because I used to not see my past much, and I used to be like, I'm open to different changes, which is how we're supposed to be, we should be vulnerable to different changes and try different things and whatnot, so that we can explore like what the universe wants to do. Hey, the universe wants to expand and explore its options and create as well, and get to know itself in the midst of all of that as well. But the ego, what happens when you develop an ego is you develop a personality. And who does this? What does this? The mind creates the ego. And so the ego starts developing. So for me, the ego started developing when I was in a mix of friends, and those people had egos, and they would start judging me like, you don't like this, you don't like that, blah 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 blah. So then from my past, like how they had developed an ego, I had developed an ego as well. And that was at one point in my life. Okay, so now what, so this is how the ego forms. The ego forms based on your past experiences. Okay, but what are your past experiences? Your past experiences are nothing but moments that have tried to teach you something. So your past experiences do not define who you are today. Who you are today is because of your past experiences, but it is not your past experiences. You are not a person of your past. You are here today. The past experiences teaches you lessons. For example, let's give an easy example. You study class 1, okay, grade 1, grade 2 in school, grade 3, grade 4, and you're in grade 12 now. So you can't really say that you are the person that you were when you were in grade 1 or grade 2 or grade 3 or grade 4, or you are still going through those lessons, and you can't associate yourself with those lessons. But those lessons were there to teach you a certain curriculum, and when you reached grade 12, like, you could understand mathematics way better than what you understood it in first standard. You can understand calculus because you learned mathematics when you were younger. When you were in grade 1, now you understand calculus in grade 12. So the past is nothing but a moment of experiences that are there either to help us experience it, have a good time with it, enjoy, express ourselves. That is on the positive side. And on the negative side, it's to teach us the lessons that we need to grow further and further and further. So the negative side, which we call the negative, in my language it's called positive lessons. Okay, this in my world there is no negative, there is positives and there's positive lessons. Negativity doesn't exist, so I look at it as positivity and positive lessons. Okay, and which is how it is supposed to be seen, in a sense, because that is really how it is. Yeah, so the past is just a continuous sequence of moments that either lets you experience yourself, either lets you dwell in the positivity of it, or stay neutral and not just stay in a sense of peace, which is kind of like rare, because the mind always keeps moving up and down, especially if you're not aware of yourself. The mind keeps fluctuating to either directions. And so it lets you experience the positive movement, which is to experience it, and it lets you experience the positive lessons, which is called the negativity. The negativity happens and it teaches you a positive lesson, and the positive lesson you imbibe into your life and you grow from there, just like how you did in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. You had to learn 1 + 1 = 2 to go to grade 12 to learn calculus, otherwise you wouldn't know that. You can't just jump from grade 1 to grade 12. You had to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way up to 12. So that's all is the past moments, and that's all the past moments are there for. And why do we have memories? We have memories not to create a personality. It's not like, oh, those memories make who I am today. They have helped in making who you are today, but they are not who you are today. They are not who you are. They have helped you see. For example, the teachers who taught you in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, they helped make who you are in grade 12. So because of those teachers, you learned what you learned in grade 12. You're able to grasp what you're grasping in grade 12 because of those teachers. But you are not those teachers. You are not those lessons. You are who you are at this very present moment. You are experiencing yourself as this very present moment. And when you start understanding that we are all constantly exchanging energies, and we are all constantly giving and taking energies, and we are basically built out of the same molecules, the same things, and we're connected in a certain way, the construct of the ego just drops down. It drops down like you're just taking a part of yourself and you're dropping it down into the well or down at the ocean, and you never see it again. And the ego is helpful, because in a certain sense, the ego would have been helpful rather in the past. In order for you to cope up, it was like a coping mechanism. If somebody came with an attitude to you, and you used your ego to kind of protect yourself or block yourself from certain things, and at a certain point it was helpful, and thank the ego for that. Let the ego be your friend for that. But at the same time, it's time to let go. And once you're done with the process of using the ego, and once you're more evolved, you understand life a lot more better, the ego is not a necessary part of the mind or the body or the soul. The ego was just what it was. It was a personality that helped you grow. That's all it was. So it's about time, if you're in this particular situation listening to this video, it's about time that you have to let go of the ego. Or you might have already let go of the ego, and you're just listening to this video for curiousness or any other thing, so it's that time when you let go of the ego, and then you are more vulnerable. When you start letting go of the ego, you're more vulnerable. So at one particular time it was helpful, but when you're probably seeing this video, it is not helpful. It is not helpful as the fact that it becomes a hindrance to connecting with your soul, mind and body. It becomes a hindrance to allow yourself to experience more experiences. It's important to be vulnerable, because there are innumerous opportunities and availabilities and possibilities to experience in this world, being us as human beings, and it's important for us to tap into them and filter out and see if they work for us or they do not. Okay, and over the past you might have known what you like, what you dislike, and all that kind of stuff. But the ego was just there as like a self-protection mechanism. It doesn't have to be the person you it doesn't have to be a part of who you are today. So once you dissolve the ego, what happens? The idea of a personality crumbles down. I am no longer Krishwan, but I am just a spirit living in a body called Krishwan. Okay, we have developed labels all over these times, and these egos have also developed over these labels, over these constructs. So the ego feels like it's a person by itself all over the society's constructs. But the society's constructs to begin with itself is just made by mankind due to different due to different people going through different timelines, and them not knowing what they've been doing, and they have been going through their timelines too, so they have also got these issues. They've got control issues, they've got this, that, a whole government system formed. And governments can be good, they can also be nasty, okay? And the ego kind of like, through its past moments, it's developed this sense of a construct as to, oh, this is who I am. In my past I had this, so I will never be experiencing this again. And the ego kind of like determines those things. Imagine if somebody came into you and started controlling you. That is pretty much the ego. It's pretty much the ego. And then once he controls you, imagine if something comes into you and starts controlling you, and at one point you start identifying with it. That is the ego. And that is not good. That is harmful. It's not good for the body. It's not good for anything, because you're not opening yourself to what the actual universe is, and you are actually a part of that universe that you're not opening yourself to. So the ego is harmful, yeah, but at one point of time it did help you. So thank it and let it go. Let it be what it was, okay? But let it go. And I think if you're listening to this video, this was the message that I wanted to tell you, and I also wanted to explain to you what this ego was. Once again, this video, you can link to That Spiritual Mindset. I have a page on Facebook that I'm running for like about 6 months, and yeah, nice to be talking with you guys today. Thank you.